The laughter started before I even understood what I was looking at. A room full of people I half knew, suits, cocktails, polite applause, erupted as a slideshow froze on my wife's face. Not her professional headshot, not her LinkedIn smile, her real smile, the one she used when she thought she was alone. His hand was on her lower back. Too familiar, too intimate. And someone behind me said, "Well, damn," and the room laughed again. My name is Daniel Mercer. I was 38 at the time. I worked as a facilities project manager for a mid-sized hospital in Denver. My wife, Claire, and I had been married for 11 years. Together for 13. Long enough that silence had learned our names. Our mornings had become choreography. 2 mugs, 1 sink, no touching. She left early. I came home late. We spoke in updates and logistics, groceries, calendar invites, a life maintained, not lived. I didn't notice the distance because it arrived politely. No slammed doors, just fewer questions, fewer laughs. Our bed became a place to sleep, not talk. The night of the laughter was her company's annual leadership dinner. Claire was a marketing director at a regional firm. I'd been invited for the first time in years. She said it mattered. She bought a new dress and didn't ask my opinion. I told myself that meant she felt confident. Her boss, Evan, was the kind of man who filled rooms without trying. Mid-40s, casual authority, the kind who clapped too loud and smiled too long. He hugged Claire when we arrived. She leaned in. The slideshow was meant to be a highlight reel of the year. Campaigns, retreats, team photos. I watched faces blur by, clapped when others clapped, sipped my drink. Then the slide appeared. A candid shot from a conference after party. Low light, too close, his mouth near her ear. Her head tilted toward him like gravity lived there. Someone whistled. Someone laughed. Evan chuckled and said, "That one was supposed to be cropped." The room lost it. I didn't laugh. I didn't move. I felt something peel away inside me. Not anger. Not yet. Recognition. The kind that arrives late and apologizes for not coming sooner. In the car afterward, Claire stared out the window. The city slid past us, wet with rain. I waited for her to say something. Anything. "Do you want to explain?" I asked. She exhaled through her nose. "It's not what you think." I nodded. That's usually when it is. At home, she kicked off her shoes and stood in the kitchen like a guest who didn't know where to put her bag. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The truth was already loud. "Is this still happening?" I asked. She crossed her arms. Defensive. Familiar. We didn't plan for anyone to see that. That wasn't my question. She looked at the counter. At her hands. He understands me. There it was. The sentence that ends marriages without breaking laws. "So you're sleeping with your boss?" I said. She flinched. "Don't be crude." I laughed once. Short, bitter. Crude was a slideshow. She finally looked at me then. Her eyes were calm. That hurt more than tears would have. "I never loved you the way you needed," she said. "You were convenient, stable. I needed that." My mouth opened, closed. I had 1,000 words. None of them would survive the room. "Do you feel bad?" I asked. She thought about it. That was the answer. "I feel bad that you're hurt," she said. "But my feelings don't matter to you anymore." I slept on the couch that night. Not because she asked. Because I couldn't stand the weight of our bed, knowing what it had become. The next few weeks blurred. I went to work, came home, ate standing up. I replayed the laughter in my head, like a bruise you press to see if it still hurts. It did. Every time. I found the messages eventually, not by snooping. She left her tablet unlocked. Careless, or maybe honest. There were no graphic details. No movie scenes. Just intimacy. Inside jokes. Complaints about me. Plans that didn't include my name. That was the moment I stopped asking questions. I didn't confront her again. I didn't beg. I didn't demand explanations that would only teach me how replaceable I'd been. I made a list instead. bank accounts, lease, lawyer. When I told her I was filing for divorce, she looked surprised, offended, even. "So that's it?" she asked. "Yes," I said. My voice didn't shake. "That's it." She moved in with Evan 2 months later. It was quiet news. Office gossip traveled faster than dignity. I heard people laughed about the slideshow for weeks. A harmless mistake. A funny moment. I stopped attending events where my name was paired with hers. What I didn't do was spiral publicly. I didn't post. I didn't drink myself into stories. I showed up. I took long walks. I learned how to cook for one. I learned how to sit with silence without calling it loneliness. A year later, I ran into Evan at a grocery store. He nodded, smiled, said, "No hard feelings, man." I looked at him, really looked. The charm, the ease, the borrowed confidence. "None," I said, and I meant it, because what he took had already been leaving. Claire emailed me once after the divorce was finalized. She said she hoped I was doing well, that she hadn't meant for things to hurt the way they did. I didn't reply. Here's what I learned. Betrayal doesn't always arrive screaming. Sometimes it laughs. Sometimes it wears a suit and calls itself success. And sometimes the most powerful response isn't revenge or rage. It's restraint. I didn't win anything. I didn't lose everything. I kept the part of me that knows when to walk away without applause. If you're listening to this and you recognize the silence before the laughter, don't wait for the room to tell you who you are. Pay attention when someone treats your dignity like a punchline. Leaving isn't failure. Staying without self-respect is.